I don't want to get ahead of myself because we have got Slavia Prague as mentioned, but you, Rory, then just mentioned Bayern Munich. That's obviously a huge game. I believe they beat us a couple of years ago in the Champions League. That's really ringing a bell, yeah. So, looking at it, how are you both feeling ahead of that game, which is a huge game, one of the heavyweights in Europe? I have us down as favourites in my mind for it.
I think they'll be worried about us, which is that's how far we've come, and say that last night was a mistake. People look at that last night and they go, wow, that they've beat... Atletico Madrid don't get beat under Simeone. Real Madrid only lost one game this season in the league, and that was against Atletico. They beat them 5-1. So, I think as well it might suit us because Bayern Munich will be on the front foot, and it'll be like a basketball game. And what we want to have that bit more control. But that's a little further down, you know what I mean? Don't want our players to get injured. That's why I just look at him.
I mean, the good news is we've got more depth than ever at the moment. So, and we'll have players coming back and all of that. Something I wanted to ask you both, though, obviously a fantastic victory, fine margins, as we were discussing earlier. But just our number 10 at the moment, Eberechi Eze, there's a few people online. Rory, I'll come to you on this first. Few people online, just basically just saying that they want a little bit more from Eze. He's putting in decent performances, but they want to see a little bit more from our 10.
Yeah, I mean, you always want to see more from everyone. I think the Fulham game was probably the quietest game he's had so far. I thought last night, to be honest, he played one lovely ball into Saka that was a good chance to score from. He has that shot that hits the crossbar, which, again, those moments, he has this incredible way of kind of gliding with the ball where it never looks like he's sprinting and yet he's moving away from players and getting that space to get the shot off. But against a team like Atletico Madrid, it's very difficult to break down, and any 10 is going to sort of struggle to be super flashy in a game like that. But I thought he was functional, very tidy, and there will be other games where you'll get more out of him. I think we're unfortunate. We've only seen we saw 20 minutes at the start of the West Ham game where you had Ødegaard and Eze in the same midfield, and I think that's where we will see a lot of creativity over time. But no, for what he's done, I'm pretty happy.
Is that the thing? He's coming from Crystal Palace where he's their best player, he's their main player. Then he comes to Arsenal where you're not the main player, and you have to again prove yourself. You have to prove you can handle the expectations of Arsenal, and he's done it. He's been sevens, and when he's been playing, so as you said there, the ball he put through for Saka with his right foot, where he just puts a little bit of swerve on it, and Oblak saves it, and Saka tries to nick it past him. That's why he's in the side. But the other thing as well is Arteta is very control-based. Yeah. So he's had to come with Palace, even though they played the 3-4-2-1 sort of system, he could still drift about when he wanted to. With us, he knows defensively, when we go our 4-4-2 and he has to go level with Gyökeres, he has to then take on other information, and he just looks like he's just gone, OK, yeah, I know what I'm doing here. And he tried that first 15, 20 minutes where we were on it. He was the one who was getting himself on the ball, and he said he glides left, he glides right, he plays little 1-2s. So, I'm just look at him, you go, I'm not being funny, we're top of the league, we just beat Atletico Madrid 4-0, haven't conceded a goal in the Champions League stages, right? So new signings, I don't see how anybody can go, they're questionable, because you go, actually no, it's been quite a smooth transition. Do you know what I mean? So you sit there and you go, yeah, it's all right, actually.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, it's all right. We're level top in the Champions League, top in the Premier League. Can't exactly complain. And also, we levelled, that was Atletico's joint worst defeat in the Champions League and the European Cup. So before it was even the Champions League, we levelled that. So, and that's against a team who, as you were mentioning, Perry, are notorious for being able to defend. Lots of talk around us being favourites for the competition. I know Jamie O'Hara, giving me second mention on the show today, this week has been talking about the fact that we haven't won this and we haven't won that and all the rest of it. But where do you have us in terms of favourites for the Champions League?
I said before the season that we would be one of the favourites to win the Premier League and the Champions League. And if you look, I love the groups. I love this group stage, finishing in the top 8. I think it's brilliant, because I think there's more jeopardy in the last round with teams who've got to get in it. So you've got to make sure, obviously, in your 8, then you've got to make sure you're in the 4, because then you get your away legs first, don't you, as you go through in the competition. And people forget as well, PSG lost 3 games in the group the league stage last season. They lost 5 in all. They lost 5 games in the Champions League and still won the Champions League. So there's always going to be teams that hit their form January onwards, which PSG did. So at the moment you're going, it's going all right for us. But Arsenal fans, though, it's just like what it's done is it's eased the pressure. It's eased the pylon. Do you know what I mean? It's like we can all just go, actually, we're doing okay. So you'd say, you mentioned sort of Bayern Munich, you mentioned Real Madrid, you mentioned us, obviously PSG. I'd put us up there in that group. Do you know what I mean? Of probably 5 have got realistic chance of winning it.
Yeah. I think weirdly, we're almost better built to win the Champions League than the Premier League. Oh, actually, this year the Premier League as well because we've got the depth. But I think because we're so solid, you even look at like a PSG last night. They win the game 7-2, brilliant win. But they concede twice, they get sent down to 10 men, conceded a couple of penalties. There's not that kind of lack of control with our performances. And I think going into the latter stages, you don't lose a game, you win. So, yeah, I think we're in a good place. We've got that squad depth and we'll see how it goes.
Well, you mentioned the Premier League there, Rory. Well, at the weekend, the Gunners confirmed a 3-point gap at the summit of the Prem with a vital away win over Fulham. A second half, the André Trossard strike, well, that was enough to send Arteta's men back to North London with maximum points. And Perry, not past couple of seasons, it's not been an easy place for us to go, Craven Cottage. The last 2 seasons, we got a draw there and then we lost the year before. So to get that monkey off our backs, nice.
Yeah, very much so. And you come back after international break, do you know what I mean? So then you're just worried, again, all Arsenal fans beyond me included, thinking just make sure that we're injured and see who's been taken off and, ain't playing any minutes. 1-0 to the Arsenal, as I said, has quite a good ring about it, really. Again, if you get that rep, because Fulham, when you're playing these games, the opposition always, because it happens when Liverpool play at Craven Cottage, happens when Man City, they raise their game, do you know what I mean? They find another level and you've got to be able just to abate that. And it's exactly what we did. And then when we go 1-0 up, that's when you just go, we're all right. And normally when you go 1-0 up, you get a little bit tense and you drop deep. We don't do that. Do you know what I mean? And Arsenal fans at the game, I wasn't enough to be there, but at the game, you think, actually, no, we feel in control here. We feel like we're going to see this one out. So, it's just, again, as you said, they're a nemesis and we know they're going to be difficult to play against. You win it 1-0. Doesn't have to. You ain't going to play brilliant in every league game that you play. It's impossible. Mm-hmm. So the ones that you're not hitting the levels that you'd like to, but you still win it 1-0, they're the games you look back in. They're the games that we were drawing last season. Yeah. And we drew too many. And you win. We'll talk about Palace later on. That game is exactly the same. The position we got ourselves in after 7 games with those difficult fixtures was brilliant. Now it's right. Now you've got to kick on again. This next batch of games before the next international break, and everybody's looking at them going, oh, they're quite comfortable. You go, no, they're not, because they're the ones that you don't want to slip up on. Do you know what I mean? They're the ones you have to take maximum points.
Yeah. Rory, it's an interesting thing that Perry mentions just there in terms of being a fan, because I don't know about you, but I very much feel when Arsenal are 1-0 up now, I feel a lot more calm, than maybe the Mustafi days. I feel very good. Gabriel and Saliba at the back there, Timber as well, Calafiori, Lewis Skelly, Ben White. I mean, we've got Nkapie as well, who we've not seen play. Mosquera. Yeah. I mean, the depth is scary. It's a great thing to have.
Yeah, that Fulham game. You think you're away from home. They add on 9 minutes of injury time. You think, oh, you're going to be under the cosh here. We really weren't. And that's part of the way that we play and control games and suffocate teams, is that by the time you get to the 100th minute of the game, which is what it was, Fulham players are knackered. They haven't got the energy to actually bomb forward and put us under that pressure. But yeah, you look at it now, you think if we go 1-0 up, and that's a mental thing for the opposition as well. If they go 1-0 down, you go, long way back now.